remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't.
Afternoon, Johnny. So, can you tell me a little bit about how we landed up here at Farrantshayes?
Okay, well, we were looking for ages for somewhere to buy so you could bring your horse home, and we finally found Farrantshayes, which is, was a 178 acre-ish ex-commercial farm, of which about 150 of those acres were sold off privately. So we were the fortunate beneficiaries of about 25 acres and, no pun intended, a shed load of buildings. Totaling probably, I think it was about 45,000 square feet. Some of those were dilapidated, some of those are just timber and steel frame buildings, and some were listed as they were attached to the main farmhouse. The origins of the farm are probably circa 1650, and it's always been a farm, from as far as we can tell from the research we've done, right up until Bernie and Sarah, the last occupants, moved out. We still spuddle. We've got some ruby reds, some sheep, horses, dogs. What else have we got? Pigs. That's the other thing. Pigs. Plenty of pigs. So we generally keep those for our own amusement and our own meat supplies. But on the whole, it's a hobby and it's not our day job. So part of what we've been doing over the last 4 years is coming up with a programme and a plan of the things that we can achieve with the farm to make it work for us. And how to restore the listed buildings into a more usable state, and try and work out what to do with some of the crapped out buildings through a process of taking down a non-replacement, such things as the old Somerset milking parlour, which we'd never had a use for, to other sheds that we've taken down and set to one side because perhaps we might reuse them, but not in the locations they were, as they were hiding some of the listed buildings which are far more beautiful and deserve to be much more to the forefront.
Okay, so we've done 3 conversions so far. Can you tell us a bit about the planning process for that?
Oh God, yeah, okay. So along comes 2016. After about 12 months, I think you should always give yourself a year to work out, not necessarily the lie of the land, but your own plan of what you want to do for the buildings and how a property and land works for you. We had no idea when we first moved here what we were going to do with the buildings and land. But soon became apparent, probably after about 12 months, that there was a lot of scope and a lot of things we could do. So we decided that we would first get permission for some of the conversion and renovation for the main farmhouse, because that's stuff that we can do alongside anything else we're doing, and we're fortunate enough to get consent for all the things we wanted to do there. And simultaneously with that, we applied for permission to convert 2 redundant sheds, I'll call them. One was a former poultry house, one was a cubicle shed. We have permission to convert those 2 sheds into 3 dwellings under Class Q of permitted development rights. So through the year of 2018, we converted what we now call the chicken shed into a 3-bed dwelling. I'm probably trying to pan over my right shoulder to try and show you a picture of that. That became a 3-bed all-en-suite dwelling, which we let straight away. And then we did the cattle shed and lambing shed, which were a pair of semis, a 2-bed and a 3-bed. And they became let straight away.
So they're on long-term residential lets.
They are, sorry, yeah. So they're on short hold tenancies, ASTs. They're not holiday lets. There's no restrictions. We could have sold them on the open market, but that was never our plan. Our plan was to try and build up a portfolio of property on the farm, to be able to share the farm with other like-minded people, and to be able to draw an income from those properties to support our daily lifestyle, but also to give us some money to invest in the main farmhouse to undertake the restoration and conservation of that. So we've done what we were planning to do under Class Q. That's all complete now. So we've just gone through the next and final round of planning permission, and got consent to convert some of the dilapidated listed barns, so we've got planning and listed building consent, into dwellings and also a farm shop.
So we're up now at Orchard Barn, which is probably the biggest of the 3 builds that we're doing. If you look up there, you can see 2 of the class Qs that we mentioned that are already done. This is probably the most exciting for you, I guess, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah, it's a beautiful barn that was once hidden to the foreground by an old steel frame shed, which we took down probably within 3 months of being here, and then been planning what to do with it ever since.
Good. Should we have a look inside? And we think this probably was the stables before.
To the front, yeah, there was evidence of a cobbled yard to the front, and there's obviously high-level timbers that protrude under the eaves, which show that it had some sort of lean-to structure to the front, which has long since been demolished, probably when they put the steel frame building up.
Okay, so obviously this was used as a functional farm building up until relatively recently. Well, functional. Let's have a little... talk me through what you like about this building then.
Okay, so despite the holes in the roof and the cobwebs from the timbers and the holes in the floor, structurally it's pretty sound. It's beautiful in its own right. It's got these lovely thick stone walls, nice brick upper parts, a very, what's the word, I would say traditional roof, but it's not even a traditional roof. It's a very humble roof. It's not a nice trussed roof. It's just been thrown together from bits of timber that were on the ground, and I quite like that. I like its humbleness and its environment, which is pretty integral to its use. You know, it's obviously had various changes throughout the year. There's an opening that's been put through here and coined up in blockwork. There's a crittle window there which shows some work was done probably in the 50s or 60s. So yeah, and it's got a lot of scope. So this will be a lovely vaulted front south section of the conversion. So it'll be completely full height. There'll be no first floor going in here, and we'll rebuild the back section which burnt down, and that will be 2-storey, and that will provide all the sleeping accommodation.
Okay, so we're walking down the main drive now to Mill Barn, which is the second build. Big old cob barn, great big doors. So tell us a little bit about Mill Barn then.
Mill Barn. Okay, so it forms part of the link courtyard to the main farm. It was at some point part of the mill workings for the farm. The farm had a history of cider making in the early 1900s. So some of the farm workings and farm machinery is still intact. So we just lovingly call this place Mill Barn. It's a dinky little barn. It'll only create a 2-bed, 2-storey dwelling, but it's quite sweet, and it'll have lovely glazed door entrance here, and one mirroring up on the other side, as you'll see as I try and open these ruts. Now, Mill Barn is currently full of most of our tools and equipment from most of the work that we've been carrying on the farm so far, but you'll still get the general gist of it if you come on in.
Okay.
So less humble in its construction. This has got proper truss roofs as opposed to collared rafters as you saw in our orchard barn. You can see a bit of the mill working poking through the wall there. And it currently has split level concrete slab, which will be part of the breaking out of next week.
Okay, so even more concrete to break out.
Yeah, even more concrete, but that is in my calculations, Em, don't worry.
Okay, right.
So essentially when this one's complete, I'll give you a kind of gist of how it's going to be. You'll come in your front door here with a glazed screen into a lobby, and you will turn to your right, and it will be your kitchen dining area with a WC through the wall there, hidden under the carport. And to your left will be your living area. Staircase up through the middle onto a bridge, so it'll be a fully vaulted 2-storey section here to be able to look down off the bridge either side. So this will be completely open plan. And then upstairs there'll be a double bedroom ensuite to my left and a double bedroom ensuite to my right.
Okay, right.
Simple as that.
On the left is what is going to be the farm shop on the ground floor, and the office on the higher floor.
First floor, as it's known.
First floor, even. You with your technical terminology, crikey. So, tell us a little bit about this building then.
Well, I love this building for a myriad of reasons, not least of all because it's got its old original slatted window, and probably because of the existing retained cider press that's inside it, which was probably part of the reason for creating it into the farm shop, because that would make a lovely feature within it. The main approach to the farm and the entrance to the farm, as you can see, is what, 30 yards from where the main entrance doors will be to the farm shop, which will be here. So people don't have to go past the rest of the residents on the farm or the rest of the buildings to get in and out of the farm shop, which makes life a lot better for everybody.
So this will be the main door.
It will. Now, me opening this is going to make a hell of a lot of noise, so you might want to stop now. I'll open the door and then we'll carry on.
And as if by magic, the door opened. So it's a little bit dark and damp and grotty in here, and a bit watery as well. So why is that?
So, okay, let's go back to first principles. So we just come in through what will be the farm entrance. This is a single-storey lean-to. Where the oil tank is, to your right, will be the downstairs, or sorry, the service WC. And then where we've crudely punched an opening through this wall will be a proper opening into the ground floor of the farm shop. We obviously had to do this to get the micro digger out because it went in through that door over there. But we've had to dig down about 1 metre and it wouldn't go back out through that door. So, if I come in here to the paddling pool, it's an indoor swimming pool, because it could be, we have, this is a groundwater table. Now last week, despite the fact we've had loads and loads of nice sunny weather, last week was a bit wet, and this is the natural water table level. And unfortunately, this is what we had to go down to. So again, it was quite fortuitous timing-wise when we did that work, because we didn't have this groundwater issue. This isn't a problem. We've got to put a load of sub-base in anyway to bring the level back up to a point to which we put the concrete slab in. And our final finished floor level will ironically be just below the old cider press workings. Now, the cider press workings are what determine this really to be the farm shop. We've got the old press here and the mulcher there, which has got some lovely beams and features above. And then the first floor itself is probably only a 60% first floor. There's a large vaulted area here and another one behind them where the staircase will be to go up. And this beam, this post, is just an old sleeper because that main structural beam that runs through there unfortunately is rotting on that end due to a roof leak that's been there for, I don't know, decades, which has caused the end of the beam to rot out, hence Bernie had put a post in to support it, hence that piece of mud being left around it to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. So when we come back into here to do some work, we'll repair that beam using one from next door, which has got to come out anyway. So that's a local conservation repair. Dig that earth out, take that beam out, and that'll be gone as well, and this will be completely open plan.
Okay, should we head outside where there's a bit more light? I mean, it's all looking really quite grim and messy and crude at the moment, and it can be quite hard at moments like this, I think, to envisage it ever getting any better. And I think everyone who, you know, attempts any kind of self-build or renovation will recognise those kind of moments where it's literally muddy and horrible and depressing and rainy. And
yeah, but you've got to go backwards to go forwards. With a property like this, you've got to strip it all out, you've got to take out all the rubbish and all the crude repairs that people have done in the past, because it was a barn. You know, it was never going to be a dwelling or an office or a farm shop. It was just a barn, and it just stored crud until it got to a point where, do you know what, there's no real useful use for this building in modern farming. So the last farmers that were here couldn't use it. The doors weren't big enough to store machinery. The floor was earth. There was no power to speak of apart from a light bulb. So, you know, it was completely unusable, and now it's going to have a completely different life, full of charm and character. And whilst we were saying before that it'll take about 36 weeks to do Orchard Barn and Mill Barn, this one will probably only take about 16 weeks from start to finish. It's a very simple conversion. You know, we're not putting in kitchens and bathrooms and bedrooms. It's 2 open plan spaces, a staircase, finish the walls, re-roof it, and put some windows and doors in.
I love your optimism, because it looks bloody awful right now.
Yeah, I know, but you've got to be optimistic, otherwise you'd sit with your head in your hands and cry a lot. So yeah, I'll do that when you're not looking.
All right. Okay, thanks ever so much, everyone. That was a really long first video, but hopefully it's given you a walk around all the different sites. There is one more, but I really don't want to flood you with way too much information.